Hello everyone, Just Podcast TV is here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified on new contents.
Episode 331. Worry. He must take this matter seriously. There must be other families and powers involved in this matter, and it wasn't a small one either. In fact, even though they knew Zach's true identity, they were still trying to rob him. The forces must know Zach's true identity. It would be very difficult for others to investigate him, but it would also be difficult for some of the major families. If he wanted to investigate, he could easily find the whereabouts of the other family's disciples. However, conflicts rarely broke out between the major families because it was very easy for them to get hurt. But this time, someone had touched the Marquez family. Moreover, it was a fight to the death, and the momentum was very strong. Therefore, Zach had to be careful. He would never allow any accidents to happen to this matter. Back in the office, Zach pulled Luna up, indicating that they did not need to talk anymore. Mac asked in a low voice, "Why?" Luna's face was also full of curiosity. She did not understand why Zach had such confidence. Zach whispered to them, "Dusty and his team have been protected by me." Just as everyone was about to leave, Shamir stood up and walked towards Zach. "Mr. Marquez, you might not know what kind of danger this presumptuous action of yours will bring." Zach looked at Shamir's arrogant face and sneered. "Are you threatening me?" Shamir smiled and did not answer. But there was no difference between not answering and tactfully admitting it. So in the next moment, Zach grabbed his head and hit the solid wood conference table with a bang. When he loosened his grip, Shamir had already slumped to the ground, clutching his big white head. His forehead had turned red. You! Shamir looked very angry. He wanted to say something, but he couldn't say it. Zach didn't need him to say anything. He kicked him with all his strength. Shamir just sat on the ground like that. He was kicked by Zach and slid 2 or 3 meters away on the smooth wooden floor. "If I tell you to keep raving, I will throw you into the sea to feed the sharks. If you don't believe me, you can try. Let's see if you are mad or die first." After teaching Shamir a lesson, Zach turned around and prepared to leave. But at this moment, 6 accompanying security guards rushed up and surrounded Zach. They didn't say anything and attacked Zach. Donnie and the other 2 didn't even have time to surround Zach. The surrounding people were frightened, and Luna was even more worried about Zach. But in the next moment, she saw that Zach was like a phantom. She didn't see how he dodged, but the fists of the security guards missed. Zach, who was in front of her, had already arrived behind her. He wrapped his hands around the neck of the security guard and twisted it. With a cracking sound, the security guards, who had been aggressive a moment ago, were now lying on the ground. Their necks were hanging down as if they had no bones. However, the clear cracking sound just now had made everyone understand that it was not that this person had no bones, but that his bones had been broken. Zach's attack was so fierce that it stunned everyone present. Even Shamir, whose face was full of pain, widened his eyes in disbelief. However, what was even more unbelievable was that in less than a minute, the necks of the remaining 5 security guards were also taken care of by Zach in such a way. Zach clapped his hands and took out a cigarette from his pocket and lit it. After that, he looked around the scene and stared fiercely at Shamir and the others. He asked in a foreign language, "Who else wants to die? Now stand up. I will send him to God for free." No one dared to make a sound. No one dared to make a sound. Episode 332. He couldn't help it. Now the only one who can make a sound is the gangster and the runaway guy standing at the door. The boss is so cool. If it were me, I wouldn't be able to do it so quickly. Forget it. You dare to compete with the boss? When I first followed him, I didn't even dare to approach him. While they were whispering to each other, Zack was looking for Shamir. Squatting in front of the white-haired old man, Shamir, Zack looked at him with a smile. You want to see God? Witnessing the death of 6 of his men, Shamir was almost scared to death. He waved his hand and said, No. I don't want to see God. Zack said, No, I know. You really want to see God. I can help you fulfill your wish. Shamir was anxious. I don't want to see God. That's not my wish. Please don't do this. Don't kill me. Zack was smiling from beginning to end. He looked very kind. He stretched out both of his hands and supported Shamir's chin with one of his hands. Trust me, I can see your heart. You must have a special desire to see God. The next moment, Shamir fell to the ground. His body did not move at all. Luna was stunned. Was this still the rogue Zack she knew? How could he be so fierce? But when she thought of the arrogance of these people just now, her heart became much easier to accept. Serves you right. Who asked you to bully us unreasonably? All of you deserve to die. The main thing was that these people did not deserve miserably, so Luna did not feel much fear. However, Mac, who was next to her, was different. He thought more. He saw that Zack had even killed Shamir. Zack! Why did you kill him as well? It had to be said that Mac had indeed thought of it through thoroughly. He thought more about this than Luna. However, Zack had also thought of it a long time ago, so he did not kill anyone. I just wanted to scare him. How would I know that this old fellow would faint after putting my hands on him? Shamir was scared out of his wits. This had become a joke on the scene. He had been quite arrogant just now. All kinds of arrogance and complacency. And now, there was no movement at all. He laid on the ground and fainted like a dead dog. The corpses of the 6 security guards were taken away by the police, who had rushed over after calling the police. Zack, Donnie, and the rest were nowhere to be found. Luna was worried about Zack's safety. She did not understand why things had become like this when they were discussing the listing. However, what she was most worried about was still that matter. She hoped that nothing would happen to Zack. At this time, Zack was sitting in Donnie's business car and was calling Angela. Help me investigate the matter of the Automotive Association that I just told you about. There were only a few big families that dared to oppose the Marquez family. A single family would definitely not make a stupid collision. Then there would definitely be connections between them. At least 2 or 3 families with similar strength would dare to touch them. The Soros family, which Zack and the old fox jokingly called the polar bear, was obviously one of the families with similar strength. Therefore, the meaning of Zack's phone call was undoubtedly to ask, did your family get involved in this? I'm sorry, Zack. My family also got involved in this matter. I know about it. Zack, the thing you created this time is a little big. This isn't about the car. You have stirred up a storm of energy revolution. I'm sorry, Zack. I cannot fight side by side with you this time. Even if you have saved me before, even if you're the man I love the most, I can only stand opposite of you. Angela said a lot, but after she finished speaking, she did not need Zack to say a word and hung up the phone. It seemed like she could not face Zack, which was why she did such a thing. Episode 333, Brat. Zack lit another cigarette on his phone. Boss, what do we do now? I feel like we have become a thorn in the side of the whole world. Even a bore like Donnie could see through the situation. This situation was very dangerous. Zack thought for a moment, and then replied, Go to the airport, book the plane tickets, and go home to find the old fox. Zack was not worried about his own safety at all. He believed that no one would find trouble with him. Under Donnie's driving, Zach rushed to the airport. However, before he could buy a ticket at the airport, the old fox called, "Come back! Grandpa wants to talk to you about something!" Zach went home and returned to the Marquez family on the island of Rusmut. He did not even need to book a plane ticket. The old fox had already arranged for a plane to come over. This wasn't the first time Donnie and the other two took this plane, but they still couldn't hide their excitement. However, Zach wasn't in the mood to talk to them. He was thinking about how to solve this problem and how the old fox was going to solve it. When they returned to the island, as expected, Xena was still eagerly waiting for them. Her face was full of joy. Zach chatted with Xena for a while and rushed to the old fox's red tile room. Just as they arrived at the red tile room's entrance, Zach saw a familiar face. It was the Mann family's Holden man. The Mann family was a big family. This was not something that could be compared to other families. It was compared to the Marquez family. The Mann family was indeed huge. It was not the best in many aspects of business. However, what terrified him was that he was ranked second in every aspect. Therefore, in terms of overall strength of the entire family, the Mann family deserved to be called the #1 family. Zach had carefully investigated this family before. The family was old, really old. They had latched themselves to many royals, and once the idea of a monarchy became unfavorable, they vanished. Everyone thought that they were extinct. However, they did not expect that after a few hundred years, they would finally resurface, and they did not even need their original family name anymore. They became nationless people and established the Mann family. As for Holden, he was the leading figure of the Mann family's younger generation. When Zach saw Holden outside the red tile room, he realized something about the hydrogen power system. He felt that there was a big family inside, tying strings to form a rope. When Holden saw Zach, a bright smile appeared on his face, but it didn't seem pretentious. "Zach, you are looking very good." Zach also smiled. "Holden, you are also looking very good." The two of them were very good when it came to the hydrogen power system, but the first one was that the thing he created was very good. The other means that he did a great job. "Drink with me if you have the chance." "Okay." It was their first time meeting, but they acted like two old friends. They were very enthusiastic and their conversation was very concise. Holden got into the car and traveled towards the landing pad on the island. Zach walked towards the red tile room in disappointment. Holden smiled so happily. He must have reached some sort of agreement with the old fox. Therefore, Zach was very unhappy, but he had no choice. He even felt a rare sense of loss. He did not blame the old fox, nor could he blame him. A group of people was pressing down on them, and they did not even have a helper. Who could withstand it? In front of them were their family's ancestors, and behind them were their children and their children. There was no way to resist, and whoever resisted would be crushed to pieces. No family could withstand it. When Zach entered the red tile room, he saw the old fox sitting on the chair and smoking a cigarette. The old fox did not smoke a cigarette. At least Zach had never seen him smoke before, but this time, he caught the cigarette. When he saw Zach looking at the cigarette in his hand, the old fox said, "The kid gave it to me. Do you want to smoke it?" Zach smiled, and then he smiled bitterly. "The timing is good. You have to smoke it." The old fox took a deep breath, and then let out a long sigh of relief. "As long as you understand, it's not your grandfather's fault." Zach shook his head. "I don't blame you. If it were me, I wouldn't be able to take it either." Episode 334. Plenty of opportunities. Holden had arrived. Angela said that their family was also inside. This was the reason why all the families were connected. The rope was the Mann family. Holden's family had seized this opportunity to force the old fox into smoking a cigarette, forcing him to smoke a cigarette. But we can't blame the Mann family for this. If it was their family who created this thing, we would have joined forces with the other families to force them into a corner and let their grandpa, who doesn't drink, have to drink a cup of Mai Tai to have a taste of it. The right thing is, when a fleeting opportunity appears at the right time, this opportunity was created by us, but it was seized by the Mann family. How can it be possible if we don't seize the opportunity to share a cup of the soup? The old fox's words seemed to be comforting himself by lowering his head, and also comforting Zack so that he wouldn't have to take this matter to heart. But how could he not take it to heart? This was the first time someone fired at him on a large scale. He had cannons and cannonballs, but he could not fight back. He could only lower his head. As the leader of this matter, Holden was naturally remembered by Zack. Other people would not choose to give up the opportunity to give him a punch because he did not fight. Michael and Kyle at home would not, and neither would Holden outside. As long as it was a real enemy, they would not. Therefore, Zack had to keep this matter in his heart. In the future, when he had the chance, he would stab the Mann family as well. The old fox never smoked, but he was forced to smoke by the juniors of the Mann family. This was a disgrace. What he needed to do was naturally to let that old fool of the Mann family, who never drank, have a cup of Mai Tai. This was returning the courtesy. After taking a deep breath and suppressing the uneasiness in his heart, Zack looked at the old fox. Then, what should we do in the end? He believed that since he had called the old fox an old fox for so many years, the old fox would naturally not lower his head for no reason. Sure enough, the old fox still smiled complacently after that. The final result is that the combined market profit is a total of $700 billion. This money is ours, but the hydrogen power system only allows the construction of the cars, and it absolutely does not allow the development of engines in other areas. In addition, the priority of the hydrogen power system is ours, and we have 1 year of exclusive rights. Zack knew that this old fox wouldn't lower his head so easily. This time, he had made a huge profit, but he had also sacrificed some things. Regarding the competition for the hydrogen power system, Zack believed that it would come to an end for the time being. The one with the greatest profit was naturally the Marquez family. $700 billion was in his hands. However, the ones who had managed to obtain the hydrogen energy system without any effort were naturally the few large families led by the Holden family. However, as the biggest beneficiary family, Zack was still unhappy. A piece of flesh was cut off by the Holden family with a knife, and the old fox was forced to lower his head. How could he be happy? However, he could only keep this score in mind for the time being. In the future, when he found a chance, he would cut back for the old fox. He did not want to let the old man from the Holden family, who never drank, not get that glass of Mai Tai. He felt bad for the old fox. Quincy seemed to have seen through Zack's displeasure. He said, "That's fine. At least you still have a year's worth of priority in your hands. It's enough for you to occupy a large number of markets. Furthermore, think about it bigger. Earth is my home. How good would it be if it turned green for you and me?" Zack knew that the old fox was referring to environmental protection. Indeed, the entire world was equipped with a hydrogen energy power system. It was indeed a large piece of environmental protection. There was no better way in front of him, so he could only self-deprecately think about it. After giving up on thinking too much about this matter, Zach asked again, "How are Michael and Kyle?" When mentioning the two of them, Quincy did not have a good expression on his face. "They are making a ruckus. Did you get what you wanted?" The two of them chatted for a while, and Zach mentioned his father again. "Old Fox, you asked me to make a movie, so I got the Golden Immortal Award for you. You asked me to make cars, and I also got the hydrogen energy power system. When the Wind Chaser car goes public, it should be a good thing to win the annual World Cars Wind and Cloud Award. Why don't you tell me about my dad first?" Episode 335. No Chance. Quincy waved his hand and said, "Let's not talk about it." Zach was speechless. "Why are you acting like this, old man? You are too stubborn. I should give you a good punch to let you know that this has gone on too far. You can't just be stubborn." Quincy replied with a smile. "What's wrong? You still want to beat me up?" Zach quickly slipped away. Sure enough, a teacup flew over his head with a swoosh. If it wasn't for the fact that Zach was in a hurry to retreat, it would have smashed the back of his head. "Stinking brat! You have grown up! You actually want to beat me up!" Zach was just addicted to talking. How could he dare to beat him up? He just ran away, not giving Quincy the slightest chance. However, just as he ran to the door of the little red tile room, the phone in Zach's pocket rang. He looked at the phone number. It was Luna's. Zach picked up the phone, and then Luna's anxious and panicked voice sounded. "Where did you go? You scared me. I didn't turn it on for a few hours. I thought you were caught." "This matter is already over. Shamir will not pursue this matter. No one will pursue this matter. So, I am very safe. In a few days, I will fly back to the country, as the production of Wind Chaser cars should continue. This matter has ended." Luna was stunned. She was originally worried about Zach, but she did not expect that Zach would not take it seriously. What was even stranger was that the incident with the Automaton Union actually ended. Just like that. After ending the call with Luna, Zach went to Zena's place. She had been on the island all day, so she should be very clear about the conflict between Michael and Kyle. But when he asked Zena about it during dinner, Zena indicated that she did not know. "Both of them are on the island all day long. Michael was quite busy in the past. He did not talk about this big business, but he drank tea with a disciple of that big family. But now, he has also stayed on the island in a proper manner. He should have been disciplined by grandfather to be obedient, right?" Zena was still too pure. After all, she had the protection of the old fox. No one dared to make her suffer, so naturally, they would think of things more purely. In Zach's opinion, this should be because the two of them were fighting so fiercely that no one dared to leave the island. Because both of them had the intention to kill each other, they didn't dare to leave. Although he felt a little uncomfortable in his heart, it was still a good thing. At least he and his woman were safe. If the two of them stopped messing around one day, he would stop and decide to enjoy a peaceful life. Zach did not mind thinking of a way to calm things down. After all, they were family. But if they were greedy and did not care about family. After dinner, Zach and Zena took a walk on the island. They enjoyed the night breeze and the company of the beauties around them. It was comfortable. It was very comfortable. While they were taking a walk, Zena shook Zach's arm and started to act like a spoiled child. "Brother, can you let me leave the island after discussing something? I feel so stifled on the island." Zach knew that Zena had stayed on the island for long enough and was ready to leave. "Sure, but you have to listen to me when the time comes." Zena nodded. The next day, Zach took Zena with him and said goodbye to the old fox. There was nothing much to say when he saw Quincy. He simply said goodbye and told him to take care of his health. Before he left, Zach walked to the door of the house. but was stopped by Quincy. Zach thought that there was something wrong, but Quincy hesitated again and again. He waved his hand and said, "Go! Go!" "Grandpa, is there something wrong with you?" No matter how Zach and Xena asked, Quincy did not say anything. He just smiled and said, "Keep it a secret!" Xena pouted. "Grandpa only knows how to fool people. He said to keep it a secret. Maybe nothing happened just to trick us." Zach thought about it, and it was not impossible. After all, an old fox was a frequent offender in this aspect. However, he had a feeling that since he went upstate last year, Quincy had been a little different. It was hard to tell what was different, but there was no clear change. It was just a feeling. Zach really could not figure it out, so he did not think about it anymore. He was pulled by Xena, who was like a gust of wind, and left the island. Looking at Xena and Zach, who were far away, Quincy's face was full of kindness and a smile. "No rush! No rush! There are plenty of opportunities!" Episode 336, Righteousness. When the plane landed, Zach arranged for the gangster and the runner to send Xena to the fields. Then he brought Donnie to QZ Group. Even though she knew Zach would come back, Luna was still surprised to see Zach appear in the group so openly. After all, Zach had taken care of 6 people in front of everyone. Zach's attitude was also very relaxed, as if nothing had happened. "What's going on? Why did the automotive union say that they won't investigate?" Zach smiled and said, "The result has already been told to you over the phone. We shouldn't worry about the rest of the things. We can't worry about the process of this matter. Some levels are too high. Not only can we not get involved, it's also best not to know." Luna suddenly understood. Fortunately, Zach was safe now and had nothing to do with him. That was also good. The two of them chatted for a while before going to see Mac. After all, the hydrogen power system only had a priority period of 1 year, so they had to seize this period of time to occupy the market. Mac was very surprised when he saw Zach. He didn't think that this fierce man would still dare to appear. But before he could ask Zach, he received a call from the higher-ups. The meaning was roughly the same as what Zach and Luna had said before. It was a priority to be listed on the market. There was even a clear statement on Zach's matter. "You don't have to worry about this matter. His actions are authorized." This was amazing. Zach could even wipe out this kind of matter. He was very strong. "Director Marquez, you really don't show your true colors." Max sighed and was shocked, but Zach did not want to talk about this. He wanted to make the best use of his time and promote the hydrogen power system as soon as possible. "Director Mac, I think you should know that we only have 1 year's time. So, what do you think?" When it came to work, Max stopped being shocked by Zach and started to think about 1 year's worth of time. "Actually, when I first heard what the higher-ups said, I was thinking about it in my heart. This priority is very important. We must seize this opportunity. For this, I plan to stop all the research vehicles, gather the power of the entire QZ, and modify the hydrogen energy engine system onto the new vehicles. It will make the QZ flowers bloom everywhere. In a year's time, it will spread all over. If that's the case, after a year of priority, it is very likely that our QZ will have a beautiful comeback and become the true big brother of the market." Zach didn't know whether to say that Mac's structure was too small or the seats below his butt had limited his thinking. "Director Marquez, do you think this preliminary consideration of mine is mature?" Obviously, this was Mac consulting Zach's opinion. Zach sat on the sofa and lit a cigarette. Luna touched the cigarette and also lit one. Zach opened his mouth as the smoke from their kitchen curled up. "My suggestion is different from Director Max. It might even harm QZ's interests. Mac was stunned. He did not understand what Zack meant by looking at Luna's calm expression. It seemed like she already knew the answer. But in reality, Zack did not tell Luna about it. Luna was also what he had figured out, and what he really thought in his heart. Zack said, "My suggestion is to share the hydrogen power system with the best automotive companies in the country for free. It is not just us, QZ, who are doing the hydrogen power system. We will let everyone use the hydrogen power system and use the 1 year we have to harvest the market. And we will not only harvest the domestic market, but also the overseas market." Zack's words made Mac frown.